What's up guys, Scopetactics here with another World of Tanks tank review. Today we're looking at the Tier 7 German tank destroyer, the Jagdpanther. The original Tier 7 tank destroyer for the Germans. Now this isn't, despite the speed you want to be hidden in this thing. This is a stealthy tank destroyer. Play it like the Stug or the other tank destroyers in the line and it'll do just fine. Despite what tiers you're up against, this tank is fairly capable of handling itself if you know where to shoot. Anyway, let's have a quick rundown of the stats. 850 health points, not much at tier 7, especially considering you can go up against tanks as high as tier 9, so you definitely don't want to be spotted in this thing. The key word with the Jagdpanther is stealth. But it's got a 55 km/h speed limit. Now you will exceed that if you go downhill. Going downhill on El Haluf, I've been going like 65 km/h if you're lucky. And it's got fairly good acceleration as well. You will reach around 50 km/h on flat ground. It's got a decent traverse speed, but not quite good enough to keep up with that speed. So it's a tank destroyer that's capable of relocating very quickly. It's great maneuverability, especially if you invest in clutch braking to make up for the traverse speed. And then of course you've got the armour, which is more or less the same frontally as the Jagdpanther 4. Better sloping of course, but it's also a bigger target. And of course the big lower plate there. The obvious port there, which is a weak spot. But anyway, like I said, you don't want to get seen in this thing. And we've got 370 meter view range, which is pretty good, 710 meter signal range, which is decent. As you can see from my equipment, I've opted for binoculars, a medium caliber tank and rammer, and ventilation. And the interesting thing, which I suppose I should show you in the research tree, is that this tank does have a pretty nasty stock grind. You start off with the short 88mm, which you can research on the Jagdpanther 4 beforehand, which I highly recommend you do. If you don't research that, then you're going to be stuck with the L70, which some of you may prefer, but at tier 7 it just doesn't have the alpha damage. Then again, it doesn't have the penetration either. I'd probably recommend sticking with the 88 and firing premium shells at anything higher than your tier. Once you get the long 88, the assaulted, you can get this on the Ferdinand, the Jagdpanther 2 with a Nashorn. I don't understand why this doesn't carry over from the Tiger or the Tiger P or anything like that. There's probably a reason for it, but it's just another grind. But you definitely want to mount that gun as soon as you can. But I think to do so, I think the only thing that carries over is the radio and the engine. I think you can mount that gun without getting the tracks. So I think you want to get the gun, then you want to get the tracks, engine, radio, then you want to go for the equipment. But you do have a choice in the long 88 or the 10.5. Now I always recommend the 10.5 over the 88. And you might be asking yourself why. Well, I'll tell you. Even though the 10.5 has a higher cost of ammunition, not that I've noticed really, I still make a significant profit in this thing, just because of the damage. It's got a slower rate of fire, 3mm less penetration, which doesn't really matter, 80 more alpha damage, well average damage, 0.02 worse accuracy, but 0.6 faster aiming time. The 1.7 second aiming time is fantastic. That's British tank destroyer standards. And the snapshots you can pull off in this tank are amazing. Especially if you're, speeding around, using it as a pseudo assault tank. Of course, the alpha damage is the main reason a lot of people will want this. You don't have to research it. but you should, because you need to research on the Jagdpanther 2 anyway, or the Ferdinand, of course. And I wouldn't really want to be playing with the long 88 at tier 8. It just does not have the alpha damage. It reminds me of playing in the Carnarvon. Anyway, let's jump back to the garage and let's have a look at the crew skills. So I started off with all 5 of my crew members in camouflage, and I'm up to my second crew skill now. Everybody apart from the radio operator, because the Jagdpanther 4 didn't have one, a dedicated radio operator. So I've got safe stowage, and then retrain on camouflage again for the loader, because I found that my ammo rack got damaged quite a lot. We've got the driver. Like I said earlier, clutch braking is pretty much the best thing you can go for. And then I've got off-road driving as the next one. Deadeye on the gunner. You never go wrong with that. Don't forget that doesn't work with high explosive ammunition. And then back to camouflage. And I've got 6 cents on the commander. And I'm retraining in mentor. Someone I could recommend is you could use a radio operator and the commander's vision raising skills, just to get that view range up that little bit higher. But that's it really. I wouldn't say you needed any premium shells with the 10.5 or the long 88. I haven't had any problems penetrating tanks up to tier 9 really, if you know where to shoot. And the reason I decided to do this tank is because probably a lot of you were looking at the on track to the Jagdpanther E100. And the Jagdpanther 2, the Jagdtiger, and the Jagdpanther E100 are all 30% off, and they all earn 30% extra credits. Unfortunately, the Ferdinand doesn't benefit from this. So as you can see, I've been grinding out, I'm almost there now. So I might try and get a Jagdpanther 2 review up by March the 1st, which is when the offer ends. Anyway, I think that's enough of looking at the actual tank. How about some replays? So here's the first replay. As you can see, it's a confrontation match on Cliff. And we are the Germans and we're against the Russians. Got a 41% chance to win, and we are top tier, as everything's tier 7. Very nicely balanced. And the Russians seem a little overconfident at the start, but who wouldn't be with that many ISs on their team? So, as always on this map, whenever I'm a tank destroyer, I usually just watch the straight road on the western side of the map. This is before I had camouflage on the Jagdpanther. It is a fairly quick tank, really. It is big. It's deceptively small in roller tanks compared to its real-life counterpart. But I just look for a nice bush to set up in and wait. Which is exactly what the Jagdpanther's good for. So we're just waiting for one of the many ISs to show up. There's one. Shoot him straight in the hull for 352 damage. We have to be careful when we shoot them here because a lot of the tanks driving in front of us. Another shot on the side of it for another 334. Loving that damage panel from XVM, by the way. A mod I said I'd never install, but it has actually turned out quite handy. As long as you're not a defeatist. Now keep an eye on this Panther M10. I'm not sure there's a way that I'm here. Yep. Just as I go to destroy the KV-3, he drives in front of me. I think he does apologise in the chat, but I'm just sitting there like, oh, why? It cost me so much credits. Anyway, back to the battle at hand. There's another IS. Oh, just the alpha damage on this gun is just amazing. That's the main reason you pick it over the long 88. Don't know where that shot went. There's another IS. Another 355 straight into him. Now at the moment the match is looking a little bit dodgy. You know, we're down to 2-1. Still a hell of a lot of ISs left. And we've lost a Tiger and a Panther, and I've only lost a KV-3. Try to push forward a little bit more. Trying to see if anything's coming over the hill. It doesn't look like it. Keeping an eye on that T-43's last position. I'm just pushing up a little bit more. Trying to encourage some of the other tanks to push up at the spot. I've got a Tiger P there in full health. And now we're back up and we've got the advantage. It's a bit of a boring game, but that's how you've got to play the Jagdpanther. So I tell some of the Tigers to push forward, and I think they get the hit. I think they do anyway. We need to get those spots off. Looking for a shot with the IS there. I don't think, no. Obviously going to bounce from that shot, but I thought you've got to try anyway. So there's a lot of targets over here to shoot at. It's great when you get a shooting gallery like this. And the tanks just keep coming out and keep getting hit. Don't think that hit him. Nice thing about the Jagdpanther is that with the 10.5 it's so easy to get 2k plus damage games. The rate of fire on that 10.5 centimeter gun is great. Yeah, we're basically just rolling through all these ISs. So at this point in the game I'm thinking, right, I want to push forward and see if I can get a bit more damage or a few more kills before the game ends. Is he reversing back? Is he shooting? I think we hit him in the side of the turret. That IS actually looked stock. I think he had the... It looked like he had a pretty skinny gun. So as you can see, one more full damage shot and we've basically got a 3k damage game, which is a great result. So I try and get this kill here, but I think the Tiger gets it. And the last thing that's left is the artillery, which we just roll straight into the base and destroy. Here he is. Destroyed by V25. We got 2 kills that game, 2,745 damage. On to the next replay. Here we are in the second replay. Standard battle on Himmelsdorf. I'm platooned up with one of my friends who's also in his Jagdpanther. But he doesn't have the 10.5 centimeter gun yet, he's using the long 88. Which is a perfectly adequate gun. It's actually not a bad grind once you get that gun. But getting into that gun is about... I think it's 16,000 experience. It's a hell of a grind. I'm not quite sure where to go on this map at first, but I decided to go into the K1, K2 sort of area and use the sight line to my advantage. Obviously I tell my platoon mate to come with me, which he does. He's already on his way there, in fact. So we've got a few heavies going this way as well. Oh, how magnificent is the camouflage on German vehicles? Everything about the German vehicles are just so great. And the ELCA AMX took a big hit from a Hellcat there and got owned. So we just decided to stay behind the Tiger and the T-29. Just lend our support. My platoon mate is staying back at the moment, just in case anything goes awry. Just seeing if we can get shots or anything up here. So we know there's a heavy tank over there. At least one. There's another one. It's a Tiger. Get a shot right into the side of him as he's driving past. Aim for where he's going to be next. And get another one into the side of him. I'm not sure if we get an additional one. I don't think he comes out as far as past the train now. I think the Tiger and the T-29 are deterring him sufficiently. So I try and get a better position, see if he'll actually go back into view, and I think he does. Yep, 302 damage, and my platoon mate finishes him off. There's that T-29 driving past. Something hit me for 348 damage, but I don't know what it was. So trying to get shots on the T-29 from here and just hitting the wall, so I decided to relocate to get a better shot on this side before he moves. Too late. My platoon mate doing some work in his Jagdpanther too. Obviously I mean the Jagdpanther in addition to me, not the actual Jagdpanther 2 Tier 8 tank destroyer. Just waiting for the T-29 to come out, and I realise he isn't going to come out this way, so I go behind. Obviously keeping an eye out for that Sture Emil. Get a shot right into him. Take one hit from him, but that doesn't bother me too much. I tell my platoon mate he needs to look out for the Sture Emil down there. I shoot the Hellcat, and he seems content to just charge ahead and attack our T-34. I don't think we finish him off. No, we don't. So at this point I realise we got 3 base cappers. The only thing that's here is the BBR-G1B, and I see a KV-1S, an SU-152, a KV-2 coming out in the way in the street, and we basically just have no chance. There's no way we're going to get there in time and reset the cap, so we decided to just try and mop up kills. Obviously being careful not to go out in front of a KV-2 or an SE-152. They're very dangerous tanks. But I think the KV-2 tries his luck at this point and we set him on fire at the end. Yep, there's a nice bit of damage to him. Well, that's the end of that replay. I don't actually have any more replays, as much as it saddens me to say. After playing all this time in the Jagdpanther, I haven't actually managed to amass that many spectacular replays, and these are only adequate, I know. Just to supplement the review with a little idea of what the tank is like. Well, I'll have more for the next tank, and it won't be as long. In fact, I might start recording that now, straight after. Anyway, don't forget, I still haven't had any replays from you guys. I don't know if you actually want to send me any. If you do, I will happily commentate over them. Whatever tier, I don't mind. Anyway, that's been the Jagdpanther. Thank you very much for watching, and stay tuned for the Jagdpanther 2 in a couple of weeks. Obviously my next replay will be going up before then, but the Jagdpanther 2 will be coming up. So until then, thank you very much for watching, I'll see you next time.